See, I would say once upon a time, but this shit ain't no fairy tale. Now, much like Romeo and Juliet, this comes to fatal ends as well, but there is no love here. Nothing but chance and twisted lust, torn away dreams, drastic changes, and a whole lot of disgust. See, there was this boy named Darren. He was like 23, up in college, studying criminology. A good son, always on his Q's and T's, but it's funny how time repeats itself, because one night, his best friend convinced him to hit up a dorm party. He danced with a few girls, threw back a few drinks, couldn't hold his liquor and threw up in the sink. On his way out of the bathroom, he heard a familiar voice. Turned his head and stopped mid-stride. He saw a group of familiar boys. Popped the tic-tac, walked over, introduced himself, said hi. They stared at him for a second. Something didn't seem right, but they dismissed it, started chilling with him, started getting tight, but the party was getting dull, so they called it a night. 3 days later, the boys got back together again, started popping pills and drinking, asked Darren to join in. He smiled, drank a little, but slipped the pills into his shoe. Couldn't risk letting them get to his head and making him forget what he was there to do. The drugs start kicking in. The boys start talking reckless, what girls they had been with and who was on their checklist. Darren pretended to be asleep. Didn't want to stop the flow of information, wanted to scream for them to move shit along, but forced himself to be patient. Eventually, they got to the girl they had in common when they roofied her up at a party in Compton. That was all the confirmation Darren needed to hear. He grabbed the Smith & Wesson off of his hip and hopped out of his chair. He wasn't thinking straight. He was angry. He was hot, put a bullet in his forehead and took off on the spot. He slipped into the library, made his way to the back, started thinking about what had happened. He caught a panic attack. Knew he wouldn't get away with it, knew this was a rap, put the gun to his head and started thinking about his past. About a girl named Drina, 16 years old with dreams of becoming a singer. She was a straight A student, always did as she was told, until one day when a best friend made her feel bold. See, she snuck up to a party. Drina was having fun, met a boy she thought was sweet, and decided she was done with the alcohol for the night. But he gave her one more drink. She took it, and she was out in a blink. She woke up, not knowing where she was. Her head felt funny, but Drina knew she wasn't buzzed. She folded back the covers and saw that her body was bare. She knew that she should tell somebody, but at the moment she didn't care. Her chest was getting tight, panic attack in full bloom, spotted her bra on the floor and her panties across the room. She got dressed, ran home, didn't know what else to do. She wanted to tell her folks, but she couldn't remember who had done it. So she stayed quiet. And everything about Drina wasn't the same over time. Everything about Drina started to rearrange. She got meaner, tougher, got involved with gangs, lost the interest in boys. She even got a sex change as family moved. And Drina decided to do some good. Get an education, get the family out the hood. But there was one more level left to playing the game. In order to start fresh, Drina had to change her name. Goodbye, Drina. Hello, Darren. A young man with grown dreams. Thought that he was destined to make it, but nothing is ever as it seems. Because one night, at a party, he heard a familiar voice. His dreams ended when he saw a group of familiar boys. So now he's sitting in the library, gun to his dome, thinking about his parents, wishing he never left home. He hears sirens wailing, and he knows they're for him, knows he has to pull the trigger. He knows this is the end. Takes the safety off of the gun. There's only one thing left to do, and right before he pulls the trigger, he whispers, Drina, I love you.
Apex round is out of pocket. This Apex round is so out of pocket.